Welcome, students. I'm your host, and today we're jumping straight into a highly focused explainer designed specifically to help you review MEC-101 Block 6. So, if you've got an exam coming up, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to take the complex academic concepts of the economics of uncertainty and break them down into simple, sticky takeaways. Let's get into it.
So let's just jump right into the core problem here. Economic choices almost never happen under perfect certainty. In earlier models, all the consequences were fully known beforehand. But in reality, how do we plan for outcomes we literally can't predict? I mean, think about it. You can't perfectly predict if it's going to pour rain tomorrow. So how do you decide whether or not to lug an umbrella around all day? When an outcome is uncertain, we have to rely on contingencies and probabilities, and that completely changes the mathematical landscape of microeconomics.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to hit Introduction to Uncertainty, Expected Utility and Risk, the mechanics of insurance, information and market failures, and wrap it all up with some final revision takeaways. Let's do this.
All right, Section 1, Expected Utility and Risk. We're starting with Unit 17. Now, how do people actually react to all this uncertainty? Well, based on expected utility theory, most of us, we're risk-averse. We will actually walk away from a mathematically fair gamble just to play it safe. But then, on the complete opposite end, you've got the risk-loving agents, the ones throwing all their eggs in one basket, chasing that absolute maximum expected utility. And, right smack in the middle are the risk-neutral folks, who honestly couldn't care less either way.
Okay, you'll definitely want to highlight this definition for your exam, the certainty equivalent. Think of it as the literal price of peace of mind. It's that guaranteed cash you'd take right now. Just hand it over so you don't have to roll the dice at all. And since most of us hate risk, that guaranteed amount is usually lower than the mathematical payoff of the gamble. That little difference between the two, that's your risk premium. Thinking about the math behind this, a 45-degree line represents perfect certainty. Your wealth in a good state perfectly matches your wealth in a bad state. But watch what happens conceptually when a downward-sloping, actuarially fair trade line intersects a risk-averse indifference curve. That exact point, that's our equilibrium. It's the absolute mathematical proof of why we gladly hand over a premium to an insurance company just to sleep at night.
Which brings us to Section 2, the mechanics of insurance. Let's head into Unit 18.
Listen, if you only take away one single thing from Unit 18, make it this. Insurance only works because of the law of large numbers. For you or me, a car crash is total chaos, right? It's an unpredictable disaster. But for an insurance company covering 1 million drivers, it is just a predictable statistical certainty. Fun fact, casinos rely on this exact same math to make sure the house always wins. The law of large numbers literally turns individual chaos into collective predictability.
So, structurally, how do the markets pull this off? It's a 3-step playbook. First up, risk pooling, bunching a massive amount of independent risks together. Next is risk spreading, taking the huge financial hit of a few unlucky people and spreading it across that entire giant pool. And finally, risk transfer. You're shifting the burden from the stressed-out, risk-averse individual straight to the risk-neutral insurance company. That is the ultimate mechanism for defraying economic risk. But, as we know, markets aren't perfect. Welcome to Section 3, Information and Market Failures. Let's tackle Unit 19.
So what happens when one person in a deal knows a whole lot more than the other? That's the principal-agent framework in a nutshell. It's all about information asymmetry. I mean, think about it. You definitely know more about your own work ethic than your boss does, right? A customer knows more about their own driving habits than their car insurance firm. When people hold on to that private info, it's kind of like having monopoly power. They can use it to their distinct advantage, and that completely throws the market off balance.
Now, please lock these next 2 terms into your brain for the exam, because getting them mixed up is a classic mistake. First is moral hazard. This is your hidden action, and it always happens after the contract is signed. Picture this. You just bought premium, zero-deductible car insurance. Subconsciously, you might start taking those corners a little faster, right? You're completely insulated from financial risk, so you change your behavior. That post-contract hidden action is moral hazard.
Contrast that immediately with adverse selection. This one is hidden information, and it happens before you even sign the paperwork. Imagine an insurer sets a price based on the average driver. Well, the really safe drivers look at that average price, say, no way, that's a ripoff, and they bounce. So who's left buying the policy? Only the absolute most dangerous drivers. The worst risks negatively select themselves into the pool, and that hidden info can literally bankrupt the whole system.
Okay, so how on earth do economists fix this? Well, principals might just have to bite the bullet and pay information rents.
Basically, a little bonus. Or settle for a second-best contract just to get the agent to reveal their true nature. Employers might throw down an efficiency wage, paying above market rate so you're absolutely terrified of losing your job and won't slack off. And the agents themselves? They use signaling, like agonizing through a tough college degree, just to loudly signal to an employer, hey, I am hardworking and highly capable.
All right, let's bring it all home. Section 4, final revision takeaways.
Listen, if you can confidently explain these 4 bullet points, you are golden for Block 6. It all starts with von Neumann-Morgenstern expected utility, creating our fundamental craving for certainty. Then, the law of large numbers swoops in to actually supply that certainty through insurance. But then, plot twist, hidden actions and hidden information threaten to blow the whole thing up. That right there is the complete story of the economics of uncertainty.
I'm going to leave you with one final exam-style thought experiment. If you were managing an insurance company today, how would you write your contracts to stop your clients' hidden actions from ruining your business? Think about how stuff like signaling or maybe even partial coverage could save the day. Test your new knowledge. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Best of luck with your revision, and as always, keep thinking like an economist.